Welcome to Elevate. I'm Rachel, and this is Nikki.
Hi, Rachel.
We're here to bring you the best insights from local wellness experts, helping you elevate your health, one simple step at a time.
Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter for curated wellness tips. You can watch this episode on YouTube or Spotify, or listen on Apple Podcast at Elevate Wellness.
On this episode of Elevate.
Again, the why comes into every play that I make with my clients. They need to know why we're doing this. Why am I eating like this? What's the purpose of this? So that my goal eventually is you don't need me anymore. As much as I want to keep you as a client, I want to empower you to be able to know enough that you can just do it on your own and thrive and live like this forever. And that's where my company name comes up with, the Thriving Through Life, is I feel like a lot of moms specifically live in the survival mode. You always hear that, right? I'm just surviving. I'm just trying to survive the day. But what if you could just thrive through the day? And that's really what I'm trying to do, is help people to be able to feel like they can thrive as a mom, as not a mom, a single parent, or a single woman, a single man, whatever it is. I work with all people. I work with plenty of guys too. So whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, I want to be basically the driving force that helps you get there.
In this episode of Elevate, mental performance coach Lauren Wilson of Thrive Through Life Wellness shares her personal journey from struggling with health issues to becoming a holistic coach. She emphasizes the importance of mental well-being alongside physical health and nutrition, and her coaching approach is all about empowering individuals, especially moms, to rediscover their confidence, purpose, and identity. Lauren discusses the power of understanding your why, setting achievable goals, and prioritizing self-care, while also addressing the unique challenges moms face when it comes to putting their health first.
Welcome to Elevate, Lauren. We're super excited to have you on.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We really are happy to have you. Thanks so much.
Yeah. You are a mom that wears many hats. I have it written here. You're a mental performance coach specializing in sports psychology, a personal trainer, a nutritionist, and a life coach. My word, we have so much to discuss, and I'm looking forward to our conversation moving forward. But to start, can you share with us what inspired you to take this holistic approach to coaching?
Yeah, absolutely. Wellness has been something that's been at the forefront of my mind since I was probably 18. I struggled with a lot of health problems growing up and into early adulthood. And it was always going to all these different doctors, and nobody had a diagnosis and nobody knew what to do for me. And I never really got answers. It was always just overall, I just wasn't healthy, I guess. And at least I felt that way. So I kind of really got into this path of identifying what I needed to change in my life to just be a healthier person, and see if doing so made everything kind of fall into place. And so that's really when I picked up the fitness side of things and thought about what I was eating for the first time in my life in college, and decided to put down all the processed snacks and see what actually eating a vegetable made me feel like. And after going through quite a lot of research and trial and error with myself, it was just so transformative how much I changed personally once I got a grip on my nutrition and my fitness, and especially my mental well-being. So I found that my whole life changed for the better. I say if I wouldn't have taken those steps, I don't know that I would be here, or at least be the person that I am today. So once I realized that, I quickly switched my whole career of criminal justice, surprisingly, was where I was before this, and realized that I really wanted to be involved in health and wellness. And I really wanted to make sure that I wasn't just another nutritionist or personal trainer, but somebody that empowered people to invest in their mind. I think the mind is the most powerful part of who we are and how we feel, how we do in life. And so I really wanted to share with the world what doing mental work as well as eating well and working out does for your well-being.
That's quite the testimony. You really did the work to change your whole self, and living proof now that you're helping others do the same. Wow, that's impressive. And it's such a young age, and to do that during college, those are usually the years where just bad decisions and not eating right and staying up late and eating the pizza. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Yes, I didn't really have the typical college lifestyle, I would guess you could say. I was more focused on next steps, which has its benefits and its doubts. I'm sure I missed out on some fun, but I think it ultimately paid off.
It says a lot, though, that you took a path that had trial and error and you individualized your health in such a way that you saw personal results. How have you used your experience to coach forward and coach individuals in finding their path?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, walking the walk and being able to experience something firsthand is going to make you more relatable, right? It's one thing to be a doctor that studies the heart and tell people how it's important to have a healthy heart. But if they've never been through any testimony to explain why is it important, it's less convincible. Sorry, my cat just dropped a toy. When you really have that real world experience, it makes you relatable. So for me, I've never been one to necessarily be like, do what I did and say what I do and you'll be like me, but more of, I want to be an example for if you do invest in yourself and you do really focus on these mental, physical, and nutritional aspects of your life, you can see the changes that happened for me. And for me, I was so sick and I was in and out of the hospital for so many years that being able to come out on the other side of it and show people that there is a possibility outside of being unhealthy really, I think, allows people to trust in my process a little bit more and believe that it is possible to find health.
Is that the key? Because believing that's mental. And I don't want to be embarrassed to say this, but I really wasn't aware that they had mental performance coaches. I knew of health and wellness, life coach, that sort of thing. So specifically, what does a mental performance coach do? Talk a little bit more about that and why it's important.
Yeah. And so mental performance and life coaching are similar in a lot of aspects. My career path that I took, I actually got my master's in sports psychology and mental performance. So I catered mine a little bit more towards the athlete mindset. I was really, really interested in what it takes to be the best of the best as an athlete because they're the most high functioning, high performing people out there, truly, especially when you think about like Olympic athletes. And so when you think about the Olympics, for instance, these athletes are the ones that you're hearing about investing in mental performance coaches. And so truly what mental performance is it's elevating all the traits that make people more mentally powerful. So the motivation, the confidence, the focus, the drive, the things that don't necessarily just happen for you, right? And really when it comes to a drive or determination, you have to have motivation and like the ability to sustain motivation in order to be able to drive that forward. And you have to have the confidence to drive that forward. And everyone can say, I'm motivated and I want to be confident, but to actually gain the tools and be able to believe and empower that in yourself is much more challenging than just hoping and saying I'm motivated or starting with a goal. So it's a lot of really honing in and redefining what your goals are, but finding what the meaning behind your goals are. Like, why is it that you want to accomplish this? What drives you to actually want it? Not just saying, I want to be thin or I want to have nice skin. Why do you want this? Finding the real motivators behind it so that we have something to attach to that drives us forward. So it's building upon these skills that we hear about in day-to-day life that really enhance life, but actually making them accessible and at the forefront when you need them.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Yes, it makes sense too.
Yeah.
How does that translate? How does that sports psychology translate to helping the moms that aren't on the playing field? They're on the playground, because I know you have a heart for moms and helping them find their confidence and their strength.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, in all honesty, I think moms have one of the hardest jobs out there, right?
Yes.
Compare, we are the high performance athlete. I mean, you have to be functioning 24/7. You have to always be on. You have to always have confidence. You want to instill all those traits within your children, right? And you want to be those things that athletes truly are for your kids. You want to be strong. You want to be empowering. You want to be motivating. And so I've tried to take a lot of what I've learned about enhancing the best self, which is a lot of what I've found teaching athletes and channeling that into the average person of just being able to embody those traits as a day-to-day person, because it doesn't just help the athlete on the field, it helps everybody in their day-to-day life feeling motivated when maybe you are a stay-at-home mom and you've left your job behind and you don't have something every single day that you're necessarily working towards, but you're working towards a child and helping that child develop, finding the motivation in that to find purpose in that. A lot of moms and women, as they become mothers and stray away from that professional life, lose that sense of like, why am I here? What's my purpose besides making mac and cheese 3 times a day?
It's an identity crisis in a lot of ways, I would think.
Yes. So allowing moms to also take on these skills that make them powerful bosses too.
So what are some of those skills? How do we do that? Because I love everything that you're saying. I was thinking, if I was going to give you my why, do I want better skin? Well, I'm aging and I still want to look as vibrant and as good as I can as I age. Why do I want to be in the best shape and maintain my weight? My why is because I feel better about myself and how I look in my clothes and how I feel. So what do you tell people like me once you know the why? Because that's where you are the expert in that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also to redefining the why, right? Because we can say we want to look better in our clothes. We can say that we want to look more youthful. But what does looking better in your clothes do for you? Like if you really break down what about looking better in my clothes is going to make me feel more whole. Not just because I look in the mirror and I like myself, but why, right? So really, and that's a personal question you have to come up with, is the why behind why you want things. Why do I want to look in the mirror and fit into a size 4? I don't know, whatever your goal may be. Why do I want to feel a purpose outside of just being a mom? What is that going to lead me to? Because if you don't have a true reason for what you're searching for, you're just going to keep searching for some kind of an answer to fall into place. And it never really gets that destination where you're like, okay, I actually achieve and I understand why I want this. And now I've grasped how to get that. So it's a lot of piecing together really what your core value attached to that why is, and then what it is that you need to achieve it. So that's where, for me, goal setting comes into play. I think goal setting is one thing that's really undermined. And people think about their goals and they throw goals out there like, I want to start a business by the time I'm 45. I want to be fully independent from my husband and have my own career base, my own income that supports all my needs by the time I'm 35, right? But how are you getting there, right? We put these big goals out to the world all the time, these really big and great goals, right? They're not bad goals, but they're very challenging to achieve goals. And even if they're not necessarily challenging to achieve, like losing 15 pounds, there's no tools in place to get there, right? So we have this goal and this big idea that we want to achieve, but we don't know what to do to get there. So it just looks like this big goal and it's daunting. And it's like, I know I want it, but like, how on earth am I ever going to get there? Even that 15 pounds, like I know I can lose 15 pounds. It's 15 pounds. People do it all the time. But what steps am I going to take to get there? What goals do I have to accomplish to get to the big goal? So a lot of what I do with my clients is breaking down the big goals into much smaller, attainable goals. Because if you're able to accomplish small things on your route to your big goal, you're going to continuously feel like you're achieving. And people need achievement to feel motivated, to feel confident, to feel capable. So if you're constantly achieving and you're constantly able to see, I'm getting here, I'm getting here, I'm getting here, and I'm taking these steps to this big goal, one, you're going to get to the goal because you know everything you have to achieve, but two, you're going to feel like you can attain it along the way because it's now a nice slope that has ridges and valleys rather than just this steep uphill battle that you're trying to achieve, which oftentimes is why people don't get to their goals because they don't take that time or know how to really set that goal up for success.
And isn't it true too that on our way to meeting our goals in those hills and those valleys, there's a whole journey that refines us. And it sounds cliche, but it's always like it's about the journey rather than getting to where you ultimately think you're headed. And a lot of times in doing that, have you seen your clients too kind of pivot their goal a little bit.
Absolutely. That's one of my biggest sayings for my clients is this is a journey, not a destination.
Mm.
Especially with weight loss. That's one thing that really bothers me personally is when people come and they've decided this number they're losing and that is it. And that is the only thing that they can achieve is this number. And I'm like, you don't know how you're going to feel at 5 pounds. You don't know how you're going to feel at 10 pounds. Why start at 30? Where'd this number come up with, right? Goals transition and change, and perceptions we have of ourselves change as we go through that journey and stop focusing so much on our destination. You may really just feel like the only way you can be happy is if you fit in a size 2. That's just like you've decided that's what I have to fit in. There's nothing else that's going to make me happy. Let's get there, do whatever it takes. Well, as you go through a transformative journey of achieving goals and figuring out your why and understanding your purpose, getting to this goal that we're hoping to achieve too through nutrition, which is why I involve the holistic mentality of let's not just focus on the weight, but let's get your nutrition, your exercise, and your mind right. A lot of people will realize that they learn to love themselves in that process. And that's what they were truly missing is they had no self-love. There was nothing there that made them feel confident. They had no confidence in their inner abilities, and they attached their confidence to the size 2. If I am size 2, nothing else matters because I look the way I want to look. But along the way, they achieved all these things that made them realize, the size 2 doesn't matter as much anymore. I'm a size 5 or 6 and I'm happy. I'm happy because I like how I look in the mirror now because I actually did the work. So it's a transformative process. It's not necessarily a destination.
Yeah, that makes sense. So give a couple examples, the tips that you would say to that person that says, well, I just have to be a size 2 and that's my goal. When they come in and you talk to them about, let's take this journey together, what might be some tangible things that you give them to do? Where does the work begin? Go home, read a journal, start journaling. Walk me through that so that they get that mental clarity that they need as you're coaching them.
Yeah. So a lot of it does start with the why. Why are we achieving this goal? And that's not something that I can necessarily identify for you. I can help you understand and work towards figuring out why you do feel that way. But figuring out the why behind what is the reason that you decided this? Is it because you feel bad? Is it because you are low in energy? Is it because somebody's giving you bad feedback about how you look? Is it just the way you feel about yourself in general? And what has led to you feeling that way? Did you look some way before that you'd like to be now? People also will need that token of, even if we're going to go on this transformative journey, I still, right now, all I care about is the weight loss, right? So we're going to work on the weight loss. That's important. It is still a goal. And regardless, people trying to lose weight and get healthier is an important part of the transformative journey. So that's not something I'd ever just be like, well, you don't need to lose the weight, so let's just focus on this instead. So working on the diet side, giving them a diet to start following and like going after, a nutrition plan, a sort of workout plan, something that they can start working on, right? Because they want to start doing something that's different. Yeah. So actually manipulating some variables so they have something there that is showing them, hey, I'm working towards this weight loss goal. But then also a lot of internal work. So doing the hard journaling. Yes, we do. I do a lot of journaling. So anytime you meet with me, you'll always be given a journal prompt or a homework prompt that you have to go home and do. I believe in homework because it's that time where you sit by yourself without me staring at you that you have to do that hard work where you have to actually think about things and really go inside yourself and assess it. And it's really hard to get those homework assignments that ask you to go into detail and go into the detail. It's kind of like when you're in school and they want you to write a personal narrative and you're like, personal narrative? Like I can give a brief overview of who I am, but you want details? Like how am I supposed to do that? Right? So now you're having to dig deeper and deeper and deeper. So it's getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is a huge part of the beginning, being vulnerable with yourself. You don't necessarily have to always be vulnerable with me, but allowing yourself to be vulnerable with yourself is really important. So those would be a few of the first things we would work on. And of course, setting those goals of what are we trying to achieve and how are we going to achieve this along this time period that we're starting with.
Yeah.
What do you see as some of the biggest challenges with your clients, predominantly moms, right? That is your niche, is working with
Yeah.
moms, correct? So what, with that being shared, what are some of the common challenges that you see them, you see
Sure.
us faced with?
Yeah. I would say in terms of success within the program or within believing in the program is the feeling that there isn't time, right?
Mm.
I see I don't have time as my number one complaint. I don't have time to do homework. I don't have time to meal prep. I don't have time to go to the gym, right? There's all these I don't have times. But I think that's one thing I challenge with people the most is you have to find time for you. Whether it's 15 minutes, whether you have to wake up 15 minutes earlier or go to bed 15 minutes later, you've got to be able to empower yourself to believe in the value you hold to have time for your space. Moms, we just don't have a lot of time. I mean, it's one of my biggest struggles as a mom, right? There is very little time that you can actually dedicate to yourself. So I think moms having the ability to place value on their ability to make time is one of the biggest challenges I see for moms. And I understand it. It is challenging, but that is one thing I really try to empower people to do is believe that they can find time, that it is possible. There are hours in the day that we can find time, even if it's small increments of time.
That is so true. Time is such a important resource that we have. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, and it often feels like it's not enough.
Yep. It flies by,
It
especially when
almost sounds
it's everywhere.
yeah, a little bit of habit stacking too, probably during that time, carving out how to do some of the things that you're asking them to implement so that they can reach their goals. Maybe it doesn't have to, you don't have to say, okay, I got 3 hours right here. We have to do it all then. Maybe habit stack throughout the day. Is that ever part of the planning? I mean, there has to be, if there's a will, there's a way. So how does it work for each individual? Is that sort of what you bring to the program for them?
Absolutely. So my whole job is to give you the tools, right? I'm never just going to tell you to do something and not help you figure out how you're going to accomplish it because that's not going to lead anyone to success. Some moms will come to me and they're like, look, I've already carved out this much time. I've got a babysitter. Like they've just figured out this is how much time I'm dedicating. That's the ideal situation.
Yeah, that's perfect, but not everybody has that.
But that's probably like 15% of the time. So generally speaking, a lot of what we have to do in the beginning is actually finalizing a schedule for yourself. And sometimes that's people have the same daily schedule every day and we follow the same routine. Sometimes I just sit with people and look, this is what you're doing Monday through Sunday. What do we have each day? Okay, you get up at this time. When does kid go to school? When all these different increments of time just to try and find even those 15-minute slivers where you're like, okay, you have an hour for lunch. What are we going to do with that hour? Can we maybe not spend the whole time sitting out on the deck having that break that you really, really need and maybe program into it 15 minutes of journaling at the end? Or at night when the kid goes down, can we, instead of watching the TV that we've been wanting to watch all day, is there a way that 15 minutes of that 30 minutes you get before bed, we can carve out journal time? Just and see how it feels. A lot of people are like, no, I want to watch my show. Like, I just want to veg. I get that way too, but see how it feels. It's a lot of trial and error, right? And maybe they come to me next week and they're like, Lauren, look, I tried the 15 minutes of journaling during my TV time. That's not happening. Okay, well, let's try and carve out another 15 minutes somewhere else. So it is a lot of sitting down and figuring out how can we make this fit into your schedule, because me just throwing out a big plan of this is how much time you're going to have to dedicate, like have at it, that's not going to help anybody out. We need to be able to plan out how you're going to achieve it in a way that's going to work for your life.
Yeah.
Lauren, you shared that you help women reignite their hot mama phase. What does that mean?
Again,
I have to ask what that means. Wait a minute.
I want it.
What's a hot mama phase? Apparently, I haven't reached it.
Well, it was funny because, and someday I'll do it, but I've always wanted to make a podcast about the hot mama mindset. And I think my whole idea behind that was when I was pre-mom, I was an athlete. I was competing myself and I felt really confident. And then I had a baby and I gained weight and I had the baby and I was like, whoa, I don't look the same. And it was this whole process of like, how can I feel hot again? Like truly, how can I look at myself and not just feel physically hot, but like, how can I feel like myself again? So it's a lot of that. How did you feel in college when you were just like had no cares in the world, but embodying that as a mom? So trying to ignite that inner confidence, trying to figure out a way to be able to wear the clothes you want to wear without having to say, well, I'm a mom, I can't wear that anymore. Different things like that, right? So being able to believe that just because you're a mom doesn't mean you aren't the same person you were before being a mom in some ways. Obviously, you transform in some of the most beautiful ways becoming a mom, but that person that you also work so hard to become outside of being a mom is still there and needs to be highlighted and needs to have their ability to shine. And that's going to allow you to not feel like you're just a mama. You're a hot mama. So
I love that.
behind that.
You touched on something and it resonates with me. I'm an older mother now, and my kids are grown, but we want to put people in these boxes of, oh, you're a mom, so, you can't wear these kind of clothes, and you can't do this, and you can't do that because you're a mother. And then you get to be my age, and someone says, well, when you get a certain age, you have to cut your hair shorter. What?
Yep.
Like, stop.
I know.
Stop telling women that this is how they have to be in whatever season or stage you are in life. Like, who I am is who I am. And if Cher can wear what she wears at her age and she can have long hair, so can I. But for some reason, it takes someone like you to remind mothers, you're still the person that you are before you had a baby and after you have babies and they're grown, and be your best self. What makes you feel good and you feel hot and all the things that you are. For some reason, we just want to give that away to someone else and just let them dictate how we're supposed to be. And that, in my opinion, is ridiculous. So when my hair is down to my hiney, y'all say, get it cut. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I'm saying? I love the fact that you are helping moms and really whoever comes to see you, older, younger, in between. Be your best self. Be the person that makes you feel the best, and remember all the things that you had earlier in life and the experiences that you can share it when you're in later life, and use those as well. So
yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
I was doing a Peloton ride the other day, and the instructor got on and she was like, every birthday, your shorts need to get shorter, not longer. And I was like,
Yes. Well, I don't know if I could do that, but yes.
The whole point is, don't change who you are just to fit this mold that society says, well, because you're a mom, you need to wear baggy clothes all the time, and you can't ever show a little bit of cleavage, and you can never have your hair long. I can't believe how many people have asked me when I'm going to cut my hair now that I'm a mom. Like, are you going to cut your hair when you have your next kid? I'm like, why would I cut my hair? Why do I need to cut my hair? It's fine. I like it long. Well, isn't it going to get in the way? I'm like, of what?
Of what?
So yeah, no, I really believe that you have to continue to be yourself, and you have to continue to push to have those feelings of being a hot mom. Like, you deserve to feel good. You don't have to just completely become this like mom slumpy idea that society has created. It's just silly.
Well, that's the mental performance aspect of what you're saying, is that we are bombarded with messages in society and things that people say and how we're supposed to act and what we're supposed to wear and what we're supposed to do. And we can let those messages mess with our mental health and really not allow us to be the person that we want to be, which is our best self, based on someone else's idea of what we're supposed to be in whatever stage we are in life. And I think that's the beautiful thing of having a mental performance coach, is to remind us that focus on yourself and what's best for you, so that you can be your very best. Because when we're our very best, we're better for our children. We're better for our husband, our partner, our spouse, our friends, all of those around us. It's get that noise out of your head that doesn't matter and put the good stuff in. And that's what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, it's very true. You have to just continue to be your authentic self. Do what makes you happy, not what makes other people happy.
Yeah. Well, and ultimately, especially with working with moms, it sets a standard and an example for our children to step out every day and know where your self-worth and value come from, and that it isn't just about an outward appearance. Your outward appearance is a reflection of how you feel internally, right? Like you said, between the ears, it's that mindset. and you're showing your children, whether you have a boy or girls or what have you, how to face each day with confidence.
Exactly.
It'll be a reflection on how people treat you too. That you're just not there to be their driver from point A to point B or make a meal. You are important, and the role that you play is important. I have a question. You said you were an athlete before. Tell us about that.
I was a competitive bodybuilder for about 5
Yes, we knew it. We knew it. I love it.
Yeah.
I did a bodybuilding contest one time, so I'm anxious to
Yeah.
hear about it.
Nikki,
Yes, one
you
time.
did
Yes,
not. I did not know that about you.
one
Oh
time in
my
college.
word.
Awesome. Good for you. Yeah, no, I got into it. I started getting really into lifting when I was about 18. And someone came up to me at the gym when I was probably 20 and was like, I think you need to compete. And I'm like, compete? Like, what? I don't know what that, I always just thought of these humongous women competing. I'm like this scrawny, like kind of muscular girl. But no, I just took a loving to it. I joined a team, I got a coach, and I competed, I don't know, 4 or 5 times locally and then did a national show. And afterwards, I ended up not really having a desire to continue doing it. It's very challenging. It's hard on your body. I originally did it the one time just to like prove myself, kind of see what I could do. I was born with a really severe bone deformity in my jaw. And so when I was 20, I had to have double jaw surgery and I had to have both my jaws broken and completely redone. And I went from being like 135 pounds to about 100 pounds in 2 months. I was on a completely liquid diet. And so I went from, again, this is kind of what started my health journey. I went from really unhealthy, emaciated, barely could hold on to anything to I don't want to feel like this anymore. And that's when the gym came. So about 9 months into my gym journey is when I was like, I might as well try and compete and see what I can do. So yeah, that was my transformation to getting really fit. And I loved it. I met my husband doing it and we competed together for a couple years and yeah, we loved it. So I really did get a chance. I was an athlete growing up. I really wasn't like Miss Athlete. I was never the epitome of health growing up by any means. I came from a very athletic family. My mom was a health nut, but I just never, I think I kind of was like, no, it's not for me. I'm not really into athletics. I tried all the sports. I was a horse girl, hence the horse.
Yeah, I love it.
So I was an equestrian athlete. I guess I could give myself some credit. I competed a long
Yes.
time as an athlete in equestrians. But yeah, so once I got into bodybuilding, that was my first like real like athlete driven sport. And I saw what it took to mentally be an athlete. And yeah, I just became in love with athletics.
I love that.
Fascinating. Yes.
Yeah,
It's very hard
it is.
to do that. I'm sure a lot of it's changed since I did it that one time in college, but I can remember being so hungry
Oh, yeah.
because we couldn't eat at certain times. I mean, it's dedication to the core. So
Yeah.
good for you. Yeah.
Yes, it is not a lifelong lifestyle for sure.
No.
At least for me. I mean, I know people that love it and do it for many, many years, but it was very challenging. It's very testing on relationships, and you have to be very strong minded to do that for a long time. And it was really cool to be able to challenge yourself mentally to do that over and over was really cool. But for me, my body didn't love doing it over and over. Dieting that hard is not the best on the female body, I will say.
Yeah, it can be strenuous. Lauren, if a fellow mom, all the fellow moms out there that are listening, if they are feeling fill in the blank, then you will be able to help them with their mindset and health and wellness journey. Lauren, for all of the moms that are listening, what are the things that they're struggling with that you can specifically help them with? They feel fatigued? Is it the weight loss journey? When should they reach out to you?
Really, I think anybody that is ready to move into an action phase. So, like in the stages of change, being able to get past the pre-contemplation stage and really be ready for change, but not really know how to get it. That's the client that I want, right? There, you have to be in a place where you actually want to see a change in your life. I think that's really important. And that's one thing I always tell clients when they're like, I'm kind of thinking about it. I'm not sure. I'll, of course, like guide you and answer any questions, but you truly have to be ready for a change because change takes time and it takes dedication and it takes willingness. And so being a mom that's like, you know what, I am ready to feel better. I think any mom and anything that you're trying to achieve, I really can help you with most all things because it's applicable to everybody, these skills that we work on, right? Confidence, motivation, focus, drive, all these things. These are all things that anybody in any situation can benefit from. So it's not necessarily that you have to be struggling with something specific. Some people come to me and they're not even necessarily struggling. They just want to enhance their lives. They might be really fit and they might have a lot of confidence and they're like, you know what, I just want to be even better. So you can be that mom too, or you can be someone that's like, I wake up every day and I look in the mirror and I just say nothing but horrible things to myself. That too, right? The whole point is to develop a individualized approach. This is not a one size fits all program. Yeah. And that's why when I work with people, I have so many different options for you to choose from, depending on like what it is that you really want to focus on. Some people don't necessarily want to go through the mental transformation. Maybe they really feel like they're in a good spot and they just want to lose weight. We can do that too. Or they just want to get really fit. And even some people want to do a competition. We can do that too. So it's really dependent on the goal. And it's one I've always had, like, I guess, business people tell me, you really should think about honing in on the exact client that you're looking for. And I'm like, but that would eliminate what I'm trying to do. I want to work with anybody and everybody. I don't want to say only this type of person that's struggling with this and needs this can work with me. It's whatever it is that you're trying to achieve in life, we can work on. Whether that's enhancing your career or enhancing your perception of yourself, your relationship with yourself, your ability to find your purpose as a mom, just feeling like you're eating better. You don't know anything about eating and you know that everybody's talking about how you should eat this, and that. And should I have fats? Should I not have fats? Like, let's learn about nutrition. I love to teach. That's a big part of what I do is I don't necessarily just say you need to eat this and that and then just do what I say. You're not going to learn anything if you do it that way. I want you to learn why you're doing it. Again, the why comes into every play that I make with my clients. They need to know why we're doing this. Why am I eating like this? What's the purpose of this? So that my goal eventually is you don't need me anymore. As much as I want to keep you as a client, I want to empower you to be able to know enough that you can just do it on your own and thrive and live like this forever. And that's where my company name comes up with, the Thriving Through Life, is I feel like a lot of moms specifically live in the survival mode. You always hear that, right? I'm just surviving. I'm just trying to survive the day. But what if you could just thrive through the day? And that's really what I'm trying to do, is help people to be able to feel like they can thrive as a mom, as not a mom, a single parent or a single woman, a single man, whatever it is. I work with all people. Yeah. I work with plenty of guys too. So it just, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, I want to be basically the driving force that helps you get there.
So good.
So it all starts with a strong mindset, is what I'm hearing.
Yep. Yeah. It really does. It all comes down to the mindset.
And if you feel like you don't have enough time, then you need to talk to Lauren.
Yeah.
Because you will help them find the time for the things that are most important.
She will schedule you and help you. I love it.
Yeah. You have to find the time because you matter. You deserve the time.
So true. So true. Boy, this has been really, really good, Lauren.
Thank you.
I've learned a lot. Thank you so much. Gracious.
Yeah, this has been great talking to you guys.
Yeah. All right, Rachel, you're up with your burning question.
My favorite question. What is the one simple thing, Lauren, that you would like us to take away today that we can start implementing today to elevate our health and wellness journey? One simple, actionable step anybody listening can start implementing into their day.
I would say switching from a focus on all the little things and all the things that you can niche pick and break down and focus on the whole. Right? Lifting up as a whole. This is a holistic mindset. You have to approach yourself and your journey holistically. So if you can start focusing on the whole person, not just the individual components, that's really what's going to allow you to elevate your life.
I love that.
That's beautiful. And we need to know how folks can follow you and find you.
Yeah. I have a website, which is my business name, www.thrivethroughlifewellness.com. And I'm on Instagram at Thrive Through Life Wellness as well. and Facebook, I think, is just Thrive Through Life Wellness. But my phone number I can give as well, which is 303-803. And you can find my website, or on my website, you can find a consultation request form, and you can actually fill that out, and it will directly email me so I can get in touch with you as well.
Fantastic. And everyone listening, we'll have that in our show notes. So don't worry while you're driving. We'll go back later. Don't try to write all that down while driving. Please don't do that. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, friends. Please leave us a 5-star review and let us know what you thought of today's episode. Share it with someone who needs a little inspiration and tell them why they should tune in to Elevate, your go-to resource for healthy living here in the Grand Strand.
Each week, we're cultivating conversations that inspire well-being, support the ebb and flow of coastal living, and help elevate our community's wellness journey.
Don't forget to join our newsletter, a culinary garden of resources, including our downloadable Wellness Made Simple with curated tips from our local wellness experts. You can click on the link in show notes to subscribe.
And of course, stay connected with us on YouTube at Elevate Health Grand Strand and on Instagram and Facebook. You'll find those links in the show notes. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. The information provided in the Elevate podcast and associated materials is for general informational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. No content should be considered a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment. Reliance on any information provided by Elevate, its host, guest, or contributors is solely at your own risk. We encourage you to consult with a healthcare professional before making any significant changes to your diet, exercise, or wellness routine. Ultimately, your health and well-being are unique to you, and it's important to make informed decisions based on your individual needs.